Students, welcome to my channel Math Excellence. Today we are discussing about the hypothesis testing. Okay, before starting this topic, I'm just giving a basic idea what is the application and in which field you use hypothesis testing, what is the motive and benefit of hypothesis testing concept. Okay, if we're talking about in data science, engineering, in management, in all the fields, we use the hypothesis testing. For example, if you're working in a company as a manager, so if you want to take any decision, so in decision making, in problem solving, hypothesis concept will help you out in all the ways, and it is the most important topic of statistics. If you are running a business and if you want to reduce the risk in your business, if you're facing any problems, with the help of hypothesis testing, you can reduce the risk also. You can optimize the resources in a very efficient way. So all this concept you can solve with the help of hypothesis concept. So hypothesis testing will help you out in all these problems. So let's start the topic of hypothesis testing today. Before starting the topic of hypothesis, I'm just giving you basic idea about the population and sample, because throughout this topic we'll use these two words. First is population, sample, second is sample. So what is population? What is sample? For example, if I'm talking about a company, okay, in a company we have a lot of departments. For example, we have HR department, we have a sales department, so we have a marketing department. Okay, a lot of departments we have. Okay, so if you are talking about complete company, so that complete entire data, that is called a population. But if you're taking a one department like HR department, sales department, and marketing department, so these particular departments are called samples. So entire thing is a population. But if you're taking a small parts of that entire population, so that will become a samples. Okay, and this thing should be very clear, because in hypothesis, if this thing is not clear, we cannot proceed for hypothesis testing. Okay, so what is the meaning of sample and population? Population means entire data, and sample means if you're talking about a small things, that is called the small parts of population, that is called the uh, a sample. For example, if you're talking about India, so that is a population. But if you're talking about a particular state, so that is a sample. Okay, let's proceed to hypothesis. Students, now hypothesis just nothing class. Hypothesis just means that any random assumption. Okay, if you're taking any random assumption without thinking this assumption is true or false, we are not aware of it. We are just giving an assumption. That assumption means hypothesis. If I'll take an example, for example, during the election time, reporters always used to say this party will win, this party will win, without knowing, without the voting result. They announce that this party will definitely win. Okay, so they are just saying something. They are giving an assumption. That assumption is called hypothesis. Okay, for example, you are working in a company and you are saying that. So suppose you are working as a marketing head in a company, okay, and you are just saying that in this year definitely our sales will be more than 50 lakh. That now, now you're just giving a statement. You don't know that this statement is true or false, and it's a different thing. But right now you're just randomly giving a statement. This statement is called a hypothesis. So hypothesis, nothing. Hypothesis means just randomly we are giving any assumption, any statement we are giving, that is called a hypothesis. So hypothesis, you can say it now. So hypothesis is a statement about the population parameters. So about the population, you are giving any random statement, that is called a hypothesis. Okay. So next, the concept is hypothesis testing. We have discussed what is hypothesis. Like I have given you example that in the media they used to say this party will win, this party will win. So suppose that you were saying like this party will definitely way. Okay, but you are giving a statement. How you can say that this is statement is true or false? So to check your statement is true or false, whatever the things you are doing, that entire concept is called hypothesis testing. Like for example, you are saying that in this year my company sale will be more than 50 lakh. Correct now? Now you have given a random statement that is called hypothesis. But now you want to check that my hypothesis will be true or false. Whatever I am saying, that will be definitely will be happen or not, or it will, should I like reach to this target, my statement will be correct or not. So to see that my statement is true or false, whatever you will do, that concept is called hypothesis testing. So in testing, basically you are test your hypothesis, your statement, whatever the statement you are taking. So that concept is called hypothesis testing. Now, hypothesis students basically of two types. First one is null hypothesis. Second one is alternative hypothesis. Okay. So in null hypothesis is what now? So null hypothesis basically, first of all, I'll give you basic things about null hypothesis. Null hypothesis denoted by H naught. And null hypothesis means there is no difference between whatever the sample and population you have. There's no difference. For example, I'm saying that you are working in a company and you are saying that after campaign our sales are increased by 50,000. Done. So your sales is increased. This is the data we have. Now you are taking an assumption. So assumption null hypothesis means there is no difference. So after or before advertisement, sale is as it is same. There is no difference in the sales. Again, I'm repeating. You are saying that there's a data we have that sales is increased. Okay, after advertisement, after a good campaign, after advertisement, our sales is increased. But now you have to take an assumption. You have in hypothesis concept, is the first step we have like taken null hypothesis. So null hypothesis is always a like we are taking an assumption, but what type of assumption we are taking in null hypothesis? So null hypothesis says that there is no difference between the sample statistics and population parameter. Means we will say that after campaign and before, before campaign and after campaign, there is no difference in the sales. Sale is as it is same. Earlier the sales was suppose 25,000. So sale is 25,000. There is no difference. So that is called null hypothesis. So null hypothesis, we always consider three types of cases. Any one of the cases can arise, depends on the problem. So the cases will be that if we have two populations, so mean will be same. There is no difference. Like if you talk about the before campaign, after campaign, there is no difference. Or might be case can be that in the first population mean is greater than equals to second population means, or might be first population parameters less than equals to second population parameters. Depends on the example, depends on the case. So first of and that one by one we'll discuss all the cases. So first of all, what is important? Null hypothesis two type. It is two types of null hypothesis we have: null and alternative. And null hypothesis means there is no significant difference. Just keep remember, whatever is given to you will assume as it is. If there is no difference is given, so that is called null hypothesis. Now second, another one is alternative hypothesis. Alternative hypothesis is obviously from the name, it's very clear. Alternative means opposite of null hypothesis. It is, we denote the alternative hypothesis by H1. And alternative hypothesis will be three cases will be arise. Like in the previous example, you were saying that before advertisement and after advertisement, there is no difference in this sense. Obviously, that is a null hypothesis. What is alternative? Alternative might be there is like both cells are not same. Okay, or might be sales were like might be before advertisement sales were good, might be after the sales is decreased. So depends on the case. So here three cases will be arise. Mu1 is not equal to mu2 means the average of first population is not equal to the second population, and my mu1 is greater than mu2, mu1 is less than mu2. Will discuss the examples. Basic thing is that hypothesis two types. First is null and second one is alternative. Okay. Now we'll discuss some of the examples. One example that in this example we are now I'm telling you that how you can take a null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. Okay, for example, we have the test scores of two random samples, one of men and other of women. Does one group differ from other? Now, what is the question we have? Okay, the test scores of two random samples. What is the first random sample we have? That is men. What is the second sample we have? That is women. That now what they're talking about? They are saying two. They are talking about the test score of two random samples. Now they're asking to you, are they different from each other or not? So first of all, without thinking, just take an assumption for the null hypothesis. What is null hypothesis? Null hypothesis means there is no difference in the test score of man and woman. So you will suppose the average, I have written over here also, the average scores of men is same as average scores of women. There is no difference. Okay, so just keep remember null hypothesis means there is no difference, there's no significant difference between the variables. Okay, so the average scores of men and average scores of women both are same. That will be always a null hypothesis. Okay, now this is a very basic example. Complete entire data is not given to you. So on basis of this example, what can be the possible cases can be arise in alternative? That obviously both are not same. Okay, might be average score of men is greater than average score of women, or might be average score of men is less than average score of women. So these three possible, any one of the possible case can be arise in alternative hypothesis. So this is a way to take the null hypothesis and alternative, because students in hypothesis before starting any questions, very important that in your mind it should be clear how to take alternative and null hypothesis, because without taking hypothesis you cannot proceed for the question, because you are solving that. Okay, my decision is wrong or right, but what is a decision? Decision is that is your hypothesis. If you're not taking any hypothesis, you cannot check your statement, correct? So important thing is that first of all we should take a hypothesis and then we have to proceed. So just keep remember null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. These three things it should be very clear. Okay, and how to take. Let's go for one more example. Already I have discussed with you. Null hypothesis means there is no difference. Both are looking same. This is null hypothesis, but alternative is definitely there is a difference. I don't know which is bigger, which is smaller. We have no idea, but definitely there is a difference. That is a alternative hypothesis. Okay. Okay, now let's talk about one more example. A school wants to know if a new teaching method improves average test score beyond 75 points. Okay, now basically, now you have to take a null hypothesis. What they are saying, they have implemented a new teaching method. After new teaching method, they want to know if students' marks will be increased or not. Okay, and increased beyond 75 marks. But what is the difference? Already I've discussed with you what is null hypothesis. There is no difference. Means student marks is not increased. Either student marks are 75 or less than 75. Obviously, if your marks are 75 or less than 75, there is no difference. There's no difference. Actually, we are analyzing by the new teaching method, correct now? So what is a null hypothesis? Null hypothesis will be your average score is 75 or less than 75. There's no difference. Okay, this is a null hypothesis. But if you are talking about now alternative, so what is the opposite of null hypothesis? It definitely marks are increased. They are giving the word of beyond, so it means definitely it's increased. So it's more than 75. So already have them discussed within alternative hypothesis. Three cases can be raised that This is mu1 is not equals to mu2 if we have two population. If we have single population, like talk about this example, so mu is not greater than 75, or mu is greater than 75, mu is not equal to 75, mu is greater than 75, or might be mu is less than 75. Any one of the possible cases will be arise, but you have to see that which cases. So keep remember, students, in any example, if we are getting a words of greater, more, okay, beyond, if these types of words you are getting, definitely we are talking about the second scenario, okay. But in any example you're getting a words like less, least, smallest, smaller, these words definitely we are talking about the last case, okay. And if there is nothing is mentioned, so obviously you have to go for the first case, okay. So just keep remember, we have always have three cases in alternative. Null hypothesis means, just keep remember, null hypothesis means no difference, but alternative we have three cases. To which case we will give, we will go is not equals to, is greater than, and less than. If you're using the word of greater, beyond, so this one, lesser, least, this one, nothing is mentioned, then first case, okay. So by using these words and by reading the example very easily, you will get to know, okay, yeah, definitely this is my null hypothesis and this is my alternative hypothesis. Might be class, the idea is clear to you. Now, one more example to discuss. Now, you can see this example again. We are talking about a test, a coach test. If a training regimen improves sprint times to below 12 seconds, means a coach is giving a training to somebody, to a student, okay, and after training he wants to see that his sprint time is less than 12 seconds, less than, but null hypothesis means there is no difference. After training also there is no difference. Sprint time is greater than 12 or equals to 12 seconds. There is no change. Keep remember, null hypothesis means there is nothing is changed. Okay, there is no change. So this is this one. So what is null hypothesis? Is that average sprint time is 12 seconds or more than 20 seconds. Obviously, if sprint time is 12 seconds or more than 20 seconds, then you can say that there is no change after training also. But alternative is there is a change, definitely, and less than. You can see that below now, less than. So we are using third case because less than what I'm using, below what I'm using. So definitely, because in alternative, three cases we have mu is not equals to 12, mu is greater than 12, and mu is less than 12, but they are using the word of below. So obviously we should go for the last case. Okay. So by these ways, you can easily take the null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. I think in this criteria is quite clear in your mind that how to take null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. So null hypothesis, again I'm revising you. Null hypothesis means there is no difference. Okay. There's no significant difference, and alternative is whatever you're taking in the hypothesis, just opposite of that. And just keep remember one more thing, guys. If in null hypothesis you are saying that, okay, suppose if I talk about this example, u is not equals to 12. Okay, so these types of tests always go for two tails of test. In normal distribution, already we have discussed all these things. Okay, two-tail test means like in this way. In both these sides we are working. Okay, this is the rejection area and this is the acceptance area. So that is two-tail test means both the sides is the rejection area. Okay, we are not going to any one of the sides. But suppose that you suppose that but we are taking the example like the mu is, if I'm taking another case, mu is greater than 12. Okay, greater than 12 means positive side I'm getting. Well, so this is the right. Yeah, and this concept we all have in the normal distribution we have discussed. So that will be right tail test. Okay, this is the left side, this is the right side. Okay. And if I'm talking about the last case, if I'll talk about the last case, in this example, we are getting mu less than 12. So if we're talking about mu less than 12, so it means we are talking about the left tailed. Okay. But all the cases will not happen in the example. Okay, you have to see the data, what is data, and what is like it's a need. Okay, this thing is very important. First of all, null hypothesis and based on null hypothesis, what can be your alternative hypothesis. Okay, might be these things are clear. And I've also mentioned my email ID. If you're still facing an issue and you want to discuss something, you can post a message also. Otherwise, you can drop me a message. Now, let's move further to another topic. Now we have discussed basically first of all about the null hypothesis and alternative. Now we are moving further. We are talking about errors in your sampling. Okay. Now, what is the errors in sampling? Suppose that first of all, what is the basic thing? Just take the null hypothesis. Okay. So there are two scenarios. Null hypothesis might be true or might be false. Correct? And you accept your null hypothesis or you reject your null hypothesis. Suppose that class, whatever the assumption you are taking, that is true and you are accepting. It's very good, obviously. It's the correct decision. Nothing we have to worry about in this. But your null hypothesis true, completely true, but still you are rejecting on basis of whatever the result we are getting with the help of testing. You are rejecting it. Is it a correct decision? No, it's completely a wrong decision. So when your null hypothesis is true and you are rejecting it, this type of error is called type 1 error. Okay, just keep remember when your null hypothesis is true, but still you are rejecting your null hypothesis. So this type of error is called type 1 error, and we denote this type 1 error by alpha, and this alpha is called level of significance. Okay, so what is the meaning of level of significance? That when I know that my decision is completely true, but still I'm rejecting my decision, I'm not going according to my decision, that is called level of significance. And class level of significance, probably we take 1%, 5%, and 10%. Okay, now what is 1%, 5%, 10%? So basically, students, when you are taking alpha is equals to 5%, it means 5% you are taking a risk. Okay, when this means your hypothesis is true, but you are rejecting it. You are rejecting it 5% level of significance. It means 5% you are taking a risk. 95% your decision is completely correct. And 5% you are taking a risk by when your hypothesis is true and still you're rejecting. This is your risk factor. So how much risk you are taking? 5% risk you are taking. So this is called level of significance. Okay, now what is now another scenario? The hypothesis is false and you are rejecting that. It's a very good decision, but your null hypothesis is wrong, still you are accepting. That is called type 2 error, and this is called level of confidence. Okay, so what is level of significance and what is level of confidence? Very easy to understand. Level of the significance means when I know that I'm going I'm going in a good path, but still I'm not accepting it. Means my null hypothesis completely to whatever the statement I'm saying, it's very true. I'm saying my sales will be increased and my company will get a profit, but I'm rejecting the statement. This is called level of significance. And what is level of confidence? Confidence means my hypothesis completely false. I know that my company will not go in a profit. Still, I'm accepting the scenario. Still, I'm going for a bad advertisement. I'm not denying the bad advertisement. Still, I'm accepting that one. So that is called level of confidence. Okay. And one more important point I'll discuss because it's very important. Yeah, just keep remember, guys, alpha, that is level of significance, is always a producer's risk. Okay, it's a producer risk. You know that your null hypothesis true, still you are rejecting. Suppose you know that if I launch this product, okay, definitely my company will go in a profit. It's a correct decision, but still you're rejecting. You're not going for that. This is a producer risk. This is called level of significance. Keep remember. But with this example, I think it will be quite clear to all of you students. But what is the level of confidence? Level of confidence, suppose that you don't have money, okay, still you are buying a iPhone, okay, and you're going for a higher product. It's a wrong decision. So that is a consumer risk, or you know that this product is not good. My hypothesis is wrong. Still I'm going for that. That is a level of confidence. Okay. So first of all, some of the things are very important, and hypothesis we have discussed. Alternative, level of significance. These things are, it should be very clear in the mind. Okay. Now, you have taken the, now what are the steps we will follow? Actually, first one is take the null hypothesis, alternative hypothesis. H0 and H1 already have discussed with you how to take null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. This is the first concept. Then you have to take a level of significance, how much risk you are taking, 5%, 1%, or 10%. And generally, students mentioned in the example and the data also. Okay, when you're solving any data and taking in data by yourself, then you consider, and even otherwise when you're solving the question, it's already given to you. Okay, then you have to apply some test. You are taking hypothesis, but how you can check your hypothesis wrong or not? So you will apply some of the tests on your hypothesis to check it's correct or not. Okay, then apply the decision, and after the decision you have to take a decision that should I accept my hypothesis or should I reject my hypothesis? Okay, so what is the first step? Take a hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. Test, take level of significance, how much risk you are taking, apply the test. And these types of tests we have: Z test, P test, chi-square test, F test, ANOVA test. All the tests you cannot apply on our particular data. Any one of these, one of the tests you have to apply because we have a particular condition when you will apply Z test, when P test, chi-square, F test, ANOVA. So any one of the tests you will apply. Okay, and then take decision. So first step is take an alternative and an hypothesis. Then take a level of significance, how much risk you are taking. Then apply the test. Now after that, take a decision. Okay, and what is the decision you have to take? You should accept, either accept null hypothesis or reject null hypothesis. These are the following steps you have to follow. Just keep remember, guys, any test if you are applying, steps will be same. Okay, apply these tests and you can solve any problem of your hypothesis test. Thank you, students.